I'm Tim Hooper.
And I'm Mike Gandolfo.
And this is the Trust Factor.
Where high touch
plus high tech
multiplied by high trust
equals the real estate professional's formula for success. Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is the Trust Factor Live. Mike and Tim here. And Mike, putting you on the spot this morning.
I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie.
Grabbed the coffee. we're caffeinated and we're ready to go. So you've been doing this for years. I like that. Nice intentional water
That's right.
guzzle there. Yes. You've been doing this for years. You were number 2, top of the largest brokerage in Kentucky, number 2, top of the charts, coached many agents to get to that top level, if you want to call it, in earning potential. So definitely have the science figured out. But as we all know, there's a science and an art. And the art is when and where how do you convert? When and where? What are the signals? What are you paying attention to? And I think when it comes down to it, a mentor of mine a long time ago said, Tim, conversion is just the natural outcome of a really, really good conversation. And as you and I have talked, I realized you love, with me, like we could be having coffee at Cracker Barrel, and you love it. Did
shout out to our server? What was his name?
Amazing.
What was the server's name?
Oh, was it Larry?
I don't know. He was like the first year or whatever else, and we thought he was the seasoned vet. So
the rising star.
The rising star.
His attitude was like, wow, he got a good tip too. But anyway, so you and I are sitting there talking. We're having coffee. And you'll be like, so what is that? So what is that? Or you'll interrupt and ask a question. It's never interruptive as much as it is curious. And it makes me feel so seen. I'll be saying something and then all of a sudden, wait, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. What's that look like? Help
me understand how you built that and here's the fire round. Here's where it's going to put you on the spot a little bit. Because I don't think you've ever sat down and probably said from the start of the conversation when I first talked to somebody to like the follow-up and then the conversion, like what the questions are in there. But let's just go, like, sit back, relax, and just go through. When you reach out or I reach out to you because Cron told me I had to call you because you're the best real estate agent in Kentucky. And so I call you. What's the first thing you're going to ask me? Like, what's the first question coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, well, I think what you just said was really powerful too, because I think there is an overall philosophy in my world that kind of guides everything that we're going to do. So like when you say what's the first question, it's going to really depend on the situation. But the philosophy is this: like you said, conversion is the result of a great conversation, right? Well, what makes a great conversation? I mean, that comes down to that. Like you have to understand what makes a great conversation. And what makes a great conversation is not me telling the other person how great I am or making the call about me, because they're coming to me with their problem. This whole thing is about them. And people, if you have a great conversation with someone or the other person feels like you had a great conversation with them, it's probably because you were more interested than interesting. Right. So you were more interested in what was going on with that person, listening for context clues, whatever else, knowing how to ask the next question, making sure they see seen, valued, and safe. Like safe is such a big word right here, because the reality of it is we talk about it all the time in our world that they're coming to a real estate agent who maybe, tied with used car salesmen. And as far as the public perception, there's all these walls that are put up. Luckily, this person was referred to me, so their trust is going to be a little bit higher. But my initial job is to make them feel let them feel safe, so that they can start to lay the groundwork where they can trust me. And it's always going to be about them, right? So if depending on how we were connected, generally speaking, it's going to be like, hey, so-and-so told me you were going to be calling, or so-and-so connected us. Jason connected us and said that you might need my help. What's going on in your life? And I'm just going to listen, right? I'm just going to let them tell me what's going on in their life. And then I'm going to say, oh, okay, Tim, you're moving to Louisville. You're going to love it here. It's a great community. Every single person who moves here is pleasantly surprised. All of my clients who have moved here from another city have been pleasantly surprised about what Louisville is. And, tell me a little bit more. Is it just you coming, or you got family coming? Right? Are your wife and kids excited about the move? You know, I want to know all these things. I want to kind of know what's going on. And this is what's going on in the initial phone call, because we're basically in my process, I take the initial phone call, but I'm leading it towards a buyer or buyer consultation or a listing appointment. And we do the listing appointment in 2 steps, which a lot of people think is a waste of time, but I think makes it a whole lot more efficient. And when we sit down, then so anyway, I'm getting some baseline information, whatever else. I'm going to ask then, of course, hey, you talk to a lender and all that other stuff, and try to lay out all the next steps for what's going to make a great call. And I'll just say, I'm going to lead to Tim. There's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I think most people do this the wrong way. We need to spend 30 to 45 minutes on a conversation and come up with a custom game plan so we can make sure that your family can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. When would you like to do that? And, we'll schedule it on person, virtually, whatever it might be. And then I'll finish it up and say, hey, I just want to let you know, you're going to get a text message confirming this. And there's going to be a little questionnaire that's going to help me serve you better. And that's going to be their equity quiz. So, which I think we're going to rebrand as the REQ profile. So, I don't know.
REQ, love it. Profile. So real quick.
Yep.
Let me. All right. I love this. So you're the first thing is Jason said I should call you. You might need my help, but I don't want to assume that. Tell me what's going on in your life. So literally the instead of trying to jump into like, I've been doing real estate in Louisville this long, and here's why Jason told you to call me or whatever, or me to call you.
Yeah. If the person's telling you how great they are, they're probably not that great, right?
So you're literally saying, hey, quick context. You're giving a little bit of context. You're saying, so-and-so said you might need my help, but what's going on in your life? Totally giving them the power, the agency, the I'm interested in you. Perfect. So then when they start saying, well, we're moving, we're doing this, I love you said, okay, help me understand the full picture of the family. Are they coming? Are they excited? My oldest daughter, she's about to graduate. She doesn't want to. She's very emotionally distraught. That's going to give you another benchmark. So I love it. Okay. But in your head, you have your sales process. You know how to go from A to B, but you also know you might need to stop at this place along the way or this place, depending on their situation. So in your head, you're asking questions, and then you're saying buyer or seller, you're which side, what are you going to do? What is that going to look like? But once you get enough information, it sounds like you're kind of, okay, so Tim, based on what you shared, there's a way I believe this, we could work together really, really well. Some people go this way. I think it's the wrong way. Here's the right way. Or you basically laid it out. There's a wrong way, right way.
There's a right way and a wrong way. The wrong way is for me to meet you at the front door for the first time. And that'd be the first time we see each other face to face.
So what you're doing is in that moment, you're saying the wrong way is for us to make a lot of assumptions and for me to go cheap on you and do this at the front door. You're saying the right way is let's invest 30 minutes to formulate a custom plan. So I love some of the word choice in it too. Get you pre-approved and just lay out. And okay, so your process well enough to say, based on what you share with me, there's a wrong way and a right way. The right way would be this. So you're now you're converting right there. That's conversion. You're converting them into a client, getting agreement to spend that 30 minutes with you. And is that in person or on Zoom or where's that?
Well, it's going to be whatever fits the situation. Obviously we want to do that in person if possible. Because then I can elevate the entire experience. Like I'll know then at that point, oh, this guy's a bourbon lover. I can have a little bourbon tasting set up for him, whatever else. We can do all this stuff, right?
All sorts of things. Yep.
But the conversion piece is like, and it allows me, I guess, to make it a little bit more fun if it's in person, because the reality of it is that they're scared, they're stressed, whether or not they're displaying it or not, they are. And if we can make it fun, if we can make it enjoyable, but if we can also just really kind of just get that connection where they know that we have a process. Because and this to me came out during COVID more than anything else. People are starving to work with someone who has a process. And it's like, hey, this is where we're going. Follow me. I'm not going to let you fall through the cracks. That's what they want, right? And so this is where a lot of that stuff just really kind of comes to light. Because, and then, like I said, once they come in, we're converting them. I mean, unless they're just not buyers, they're working with us.
So what? All right. So obviously you have the ask, the first conversion for you is you're gaining agreement to meet with you for 30 minutes. You know, there's a right way and a wrong way. So is that also a bench, or is that also a test for you to see how serious
because
they are?
I'm not going to work with I'm not working with everybody.
Yeah.
So like I learned early in my world is that I want to work with other givers, not people who are takers. And when you work with people who are takers or people who are trying to take advantage of situations or whatever else, like I'm like, you know, it's just not, it's going to suck the life out of me if I'm being honest. And if it's going to occupy so much of my brain space that I'm probably going to miss opportunities that I actually do want. And so, I think, you know, you learn that after you fired a couple clients or you decide not to work with people, like you're actually in control of your business and you're very clear on who you want to work with because
there
of
you
that.
Go. So your process is equally comforting for them as it is for you. All right. So 30 minutes. All right. So I say, yes, Mike, I'm going to 30 minutes. Now we're in person. You set up a little bourbon tasting for me.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, we're talking what questions in that 30 minutes? Obviously you're asking a ton of questions as far as preferences and all that. But what are you, when you're ending that conversation, are there any key moments in that conversation, or how do you end it to make sure the next thing happens?
Well, let me talk about the first question.
Okay.
That happens because this is where I think we differentiate ourselves completely. So I've already, from the initial phone call, been able to measure their motivation. I know why they're moving, whatever else. The very first question I'm going to ask is going to be, tell me how your day-to-day life usually goes. And they'll come in and they'll be like, well, we want 3 bedrooms. I was like, no, don't tell me what the house looks like. I want you to tell me kind of like, you know, what happens in a normal week for you guys. And the whole time I'm listening for number one, to understand, you know, 1,800 square feet is 1,800 square feet, right? Is this an 1,800 square feet where we need to have more entertainment space and smaller bedrooms, or do we need bigger bedrooms and smaller entertainment space? Like, I'm just thinking about all this other stuff as they're going through and talking about like the life. But the reality of it is that they have, I've had so many clients tell me this. It's like, when you ask that question and we're envisioning our life like occurring in Louisville, and we're envisioning what the neighborhood looks like, and we're envisioning like walking to the coffee shop or the restaurants we want to be close to, or how important it is to be to schools, all this stuff kind of, if you just say, okay, my kids are getting ready to drive. Okay, well, they probably don't want to be 45 minutes away from, life, right? Like it's all these little things that end up affecting their decision in a way that they don't know. So I'll give you a perfect example. Newlywed couple comes in and they're looking for their first house. And in our world, a lot of the first time home buyer houses are Cape Cods. And the second floor has been turned into the entire master suite, whether there's a bathroom or not. It's the primary bedroom, since we're not supposed to say master bedroom anymore. Primary bedroom. So, and I'll look and I'll say, hey, are you going to have kids in this house? And I'm like, yeah, we might have 1 or 2 kids in this house. I was like, well, how do you feel about your bedroom being upstairs and your toddler's bedroom being on the first floor? And the husband will be like, oh, it's not that big a deal. And the wife is like terrified. She's like, no, that's not going to happen. I was like, okay, now we understand that that's probably not something we want to look like, because we want the house, and there's a couple points that we're going to make. We want the house to work for you now, and we want it to work for you 4 to 5 years from now. And then we also want to make sure that you understand that when you're thinking about buying it, I'm already thinking about what it's going to take when we have to go sell it, because I plan on being the person who's going to help you sell it. And I want to make sure we're setting up everybody for a win. And when they hear that and they know that we're in it for the long haul, they're like, oh, this person's not just going to try to get a commission check and get us to buy something right off the bat.
So number one, your questions demonstrate a few things. It demonstrates that you're skilled. And by the way, if you're just starting out in real estate, I would dare say one of the best exercises you could do is write some of the questions down along your process that are going to help you guide them and also guide yourself into these. So I mean, you're demonstrating competence, but also I feel like the comfortability you gave them with having a process is now also the comfortability you're generating again by saying, I'm going to be here for the long haul. Because people like to not have to make choices. Like if we could just not have to make a choice, it'd be amazing. So once I like you, once it's like Mike's amazing. He feels so good to work with. And you're like now saying, I'm going to be here for the long haul. Like after you have 3 kids, I'm still going to be here. It's like, wow, so the comfortability, your questions are delivering comfortability. You are giving me safety in this. All right. So, all right. You're asking all these questions.
Tim, in that process, like we're talking about the process of, and I know we're focusing on the home buyer a lot right here.
Yeah.
But the process is a process of elimination, not selection. And like we're guiding them through the stages of elimination. We talk about how looking at houses is kind of like going on a first date with someone, and it's like no one's going on a first date looking to get married. Like I take the pressure off that first showing. I'm like, do we want to buy this house or do we not? No. Like, do you want to see it again or do you not? And like we just kind of like really eliminate pressure points for people to kind of ease through and get through the process in a way where they feel confident about their decision, and they actually make decisions a lot more confidently and a lot more with a lot more clarity and a lot more quickly because of it.
Wow. It reminds me of another mentor who said, sell slow to close fast. And I just think the process of elimination is selling slow. The process of selection is selling fast. So instead of like, so is this the one? No, it's like, this doesn't have to be the one.
Right.
Is this what, would you like to see this one again? Could you imagine yourself seeing this one again?
And when we talk about that, we tell everybody that people are on a spectrum between they're going to love everything we show them, and I can't negotiate effectively for that person. So I need to get you out of it. I want you to love the house, but just not until you actually get the keys. To the person who, and we work with a lot of pilots and engineers and physicians that are going to nitpick a house for 55 minutes, and we weren't going to buy it anyway, right? So like I'm not interested in that person either. So
that's also data. Like when they're nitpicking it, do you ever find that an agent will take nitpicking a house personally for them, like they're nitpicking them?
Not in my world. I mean, I don't feel that way. I won't let them. So like, I control the process. Okay. And so they're confident when I lay this process out, they know they might be the ones who are walking ahead, and that's a whole nother funny story, by the way, from House Hunters. But I'm leading the process from behind, and so the reality of it is like I'll tell them first showings, in a first date with someone, if there's gonna be a second date in the first 10 minutes, first showings shouldn't take longer than 10 minutes. And they'll joke about it. It's like, oh, we only got 10 minutes. Ha. And then they'll go in there and then they'll say, it's like, oh, you're right. Like we're not letting you place furniture. We're not doing any of that stuff. There's going to be a second date. Now, sometimes we got to do that second date right away. And so when I was on House Hunters, which I don't even know if you know that I was on House Hunters.
I did not know. I was about to dig in and say, what do you mean House Hunters? So
the House Hunters person, the person who was the director or whatever, was by the way, Donnie Bonaducci's sister, Cecilia from the Partridge Family. But anyway, they were like, we need you to lead them through the house. I was like, that's not what I do. I let them come into the house, choose their route, and I follow behind and offer my advice. So I know we were going to the next, like what happens like in the next steps, and that's it. Like I'll open the door, and then I let their natural route take it. I'm paying attention to where their eyes go and whatever else. And then I'm pointing out things that I think that they might be missing, whether it's the good and the bad, because lots of times when I think we've got to sell it, I'll be like, hey, this might not be an issue now, but this could be an issue when we go to sell it.
Yep.
And they need to know that. And it's not necessarily a deal breaker or not a deal breaker, but they have an idea on whether or not it's something they want to take on,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Wow, this is great. Lead from behind. Watch where their eyes go. Watch where the path goes. That's beautiful. Okay, so you've shown houses, you figured out which one's got the second date, you got there, you finally process of elimination. They said it's really these two, and we're good with either one. So you're
Yeah.
like, okay, let's go negotiate. So you go negotiate, you get them the deal,
Mm-hmm.
you bring an offer to the table, they're ready. Like you're at this moment in time, like conversions for you, that first 30 minutes was really conversion. Like after that first 30 minutes on that meeting with them, that was conversion. And then after that first 30 minutes of meeting with you, and then you're going to go into like showing houses. Like how did you get them into like, where's the, I mean, where do you sign the contract? I mean, what's the big question? Is there a big moment? Do you ever feel like there's a big moment, or do you ever feel like there's like this like unsurety in your head? Like, are we moving forward with them? Are they not? And I'm going to break the silence. Like, how do you move something to a firm yes when you're unsure? Are you ever unsure? Kind of.
I'm not 100% sure exactly which yes you're talking about. Like if it's to get them to sign the buyer agency agreement, like that's just not really been an issue for us. It's real simple for us to get buyer agency agreement signed. The people are by that point, and that would happen. The buyer agency agreement would be signed at that 30-minute meeting at the end of it.
Yep.
But they've already experienced that we got referred to them. So there's trust there. We've demonstrated trust in that call and in that meeting. They've already gotten some sort of personal touch from us. Like my wife recently went on a listing presentation, and just some of the things that we would take as like the basics of a listing presentation, and she was competing for it. The other agent didn't do any of it.
Wow. And
so like just when you go through a process, you communicate the process, you create this safe environment, like, yeah, we'll sign whatever you want to put in front of us.
What you say, they're already signing. And then, all right, let's go to the end. So that the big moment is at the end of the 30 minutes. It's like, here's our buyer agent agreement. And now we're going to get into the races of finding you the perfect place. So now you go find the perfect place. Now you land on a house, and you're negotiating. Is there ever a big ask or a big question where they're going to have to pay more, or you're not going to get it down, and you have to ask, there's another question that you have to ask, be like, are you willing to trust me on this? Are you like, it's going to be a little bit more, but here, like, where's that conversion? Is there another conversion in there somewhere?
I love what I think you're hinting at. I also want to make sure that people understand that my conversion is not getting to the closing table. My conversion is getting that person to duplicate themselves. So like they're going to refer me twice.
It's boom. Hang on one more time. Your conversion is not getting to the closing table. Your conversion is getting to duplicate themselves, meaning
they referred me twice.
They are bringing you somebody again and again, raving about you. Okay. Correct. So there is the culmination of their closing, and it has to be such a trusted experience, and you got them what they needed at a fair price, and everybody came to the table. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we've been in 5 years of like, limited inventory, and you're all this stuff. Like, how do you ensure that?
So people who don't work this way are gonna have a hard time believing what I'm getting ready to say.
There we go, guys.
Okay. At the point where something pops up in the inspection, and it's like, well, your realtor needs to cut his commission to make something happen. All right. I'll even tell you a story about the guy who's still my insurance agent, and he bought his first house, and we met, and he really didn't know me very well. We had some interactions, and he's buying his first house, and we're buying it from a person who's an attorney. And I was like, hey, they're listed this, but it's really worth like down here, and we're not going to go above this price. And my clients were willing to go above the price where I said, it's like, a win for us is getting it at this price. And we stood really firm at getting it at that price, to the point where the seller was like, you know what, we'll do it, but your agent needs to cut his commission by this much to be able to make the deal work. And I said, my commission is not part of this transaction. Like, I'm worth what I'm getting paid. And like my client, I just said, we'll go find something else. And the seller called my buyer directly and said, hey, your agent would not cut his commission to make this deal work. And I didn't know this was happening. And my guy goes, yeah, no way he's cutting his commission. Do you see how hard he's working for us? And that has played out. A scenario similar to that has played out for every single one of my agents that have worked for me, because we demonstrate our value at such a high level that, first of all, the go-giver, you give more value than you take in payment, that our clients end up becoming more protective of what we're getting paid than what we do, and it's amazing how it works out. And our agents, sometimes they get like nervous or whatever else. It's like, oh, my person's going to want me to cut my commission. And it's like, no, they're like, no, you're not doing that at all, because like you're earning every penny of this thing right here. And so anyway, we get to the closing. So when she heard that my person was not going to confront me about lowering my commission, we got the accepted contract back. We get to the closing table, and I got a commission. I guess I'm not going to say percentages because I don't want to get in trust with the antitrust laws. And she got a $500 flat fee. So the listing agent did. So the listing agent cut her fee, but I didn't cut mine. Now that listing agent didn't guide on price. They let the seller price it wherever they wanted to. There was all these other steps that they missed because they're trying to just deal and hope, and they're just want to get a commission check versus actually saying, this is the process, this is where we need to be, giving real guidance and real professional help. So
wow, crazy, man. That's awesome. That story is powerful. But as you guys can see, and you know this, you've veterans watching this, you know it. You maybe heard some things Mike shared that you're like, man, I'm going to tweak that in my process. And some of you getting into real estate, you're like, dude, that is a process. And so I think the key is this: what does the conversation look like? Do you show mastery of knowing where you need to go? Are you guiding them? Are you leading from behind? But are your questions powerful enough to ask for the bill? When you get down, have you demonstrated enough value at the end of that 30 minutes? Hey, do you see yourselves moving forward? Like, can we work? I want to work with you. Can we work together? This is where we sign. This is what this process right here, signing this, means we get to work together now. Let's get this signed. You're asking small questions. And then the other thing was taking the pressure off. Anytime you can take the pressure off, you're probably going to get a better, people are going to be, yes, I want to work with you. People don't like to be pressured. Nobody likes being sold. Everybody loves to buy. And so let them feel like they're in the driver's seat. But you know what? You're right there you're the GPS. Like, they're in the driver's seat, but you're the GPS. You're like, hey, turn right here, turn left here. And so you be their guidance system. You know your process, but have good questions along the way. Conversion should not be this massive moment. I think, Mike, you've demonstrated that. Conversion. And by the way, conversion's happening while you're not even there. Your buyer converted the seller in a conversation that was happening with you not even there. So,
well, and then going back to the conversion for us is duplicating the client. Like, that starts in that 30-minute meeting. Well, I'll say that, hey, I just want to let you know that I work by referral, which means that I only get business if I do an elite job for you that makes you excited about telling other people about your experience. So I'm telling that at the 30-minute meeting. And then when things pop up, it's all about painting the picture that they're going to be in, right? You mentioned in our last episode about having the little, like, the greatest way to, thank me is by sending me your referrals, or I love your referrals. No, this is like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, you're going to be hanging out with your friends this weekend, and you're going to be talking about the process of buying a house and whatever else. And someone is probably going to say, hey, we're thinking about buying a house. And I need you to recognize that is a great connection for me, and just introduce me to that person on a 3-way text, and know that I'm going to take really good care of them just the same way that I take great care of you.
Dude, that is so powerful. That is asking early and asking often for referrals. And the earlier you can ask for referrals, you're actually taking the pressure. Here's the psychology that's happening. You're taking that person out of the picture. Because you can obsess about them. They're in the picture. It's their picture. You're helping them buy a house. And you're out here painting the picture. You're literally helping that person step out of their own picture and analyze the painting of what you're painting, because now they're like, they're rating you are you doing a good enough experience for me that I would actually refer you to somebody? So you're literally helping that. You're giving them agency without them. You're like saying, hey, step out of the picture, watch what I do, and tell me if this isn't good enough to refer. So you're telling them to do that early with you. So now you're almost like standing side by side with them for the whole transaction, and they're watching you paint. It's magical. So conversion mastery. Conversion is not closing for you, Mike Gandolfo. It is getting double the referral. Dude, that's incredible.
If every single person you work with gives you 2 referrals, just think about how your business would exponentially
and that's
grow.
3. I don't know if I'm pointing to the right side. 3x. Them plus 2 more. 3x. But it's also high tech, high touch, multiplied by high trust. Mike, we got to run. And this has been great. So, guys, subscribe, share this, and we'll see you next time.
The Trust Factor podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. You can even watch us on YouTube.
And subscribe to the channel so you can comment and drop your questions and share it with your team.